up, everybody? Welcome to Up at Noon. I'm Greg Miller, and we have a huge double-header show for you. That's right, 2 freaking interviews. Can you believe it? We're going to talk to Matt Brunner about Murdered Soul Suspect, but first, you know him from Rock Band and Harmonix. John Drake is here to tell me all about Amplitude. Yeah. John Drake, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming.
Excellent.
Let me be the first to say, go fuck yourself.
Okay.
I don't know how many of these rock bands I gotta buy. You get all this big money, and now you want more of my money for Amplitude?
I didn't know if you were going to do a seamless transition as you're known for into Amplitude, or if you were just telling me straight up to go fuck myself.
No, of course not.
Figured it could be either way.
I'm giving you the Greg way. That's what we call it.
Perfect.
Give you another one later, too.
Hashtag Greg way.
No, Amplitude. You're trying to bring it back.
Yes.
This is a classic game. Everybody loved.
Yeah.
It's been gone a long time.
Yeah, a beat match game for controllers for the fine Sony platforms, PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. It was originally on the PlayStation 2 back in 2003, and it was a progenitor to Guitar Hero and Rock Band and all the games that came after that for gems on a highway that you beat match with a controller and unleash, at the time, dance electronic music. So it was, or remixes of pop. We had David Bowie, we had the wonderful guys in POD in the game. Yeah, boom.
I remember them quite well.
And people love those games. We hear, every time I put a new game out, we hear, yeah, fine, I guess Dance Central, but why aren't you making another Amplitude?
Right.
It's like, hey, so okay, we'll make another Amplitude.
But there's a big asterisk on this one.
Yes, we need money to do so, and don't have enough to do it all ourselves. So
you went to this Kickstarter.
We did this. It's a new website called Kickstarter.
Yeah.
They started a thing where they're like, hey, if you have an audience that loves a game and is passionate about it, and you can't make a project without their support, maybe you can come here and they can support you, and then you can make that game. So we thought we'll put a dumb video up and make some pleas about how we can't make the game without them, and that's the case actually. Like we are fronting a ton of the money ourselves, but no one else wants to fund this project. We are passionate about making it. We started thinking about it because the fans were asking, and we became kind of obsessed with how great it could be to put out a next-gen, crazy-ass, awesome 2014-15 Amplitude, not lock you on a
good job.
Date.
I like how you got around the release date. Yeah.
It's around the holiday period. I don't know.
The winter time frame.
It'll be dark outside at night, and then you'll be able to buy it again. And so we went to Kickstarter and said, let's put some dollars up there and see if people will come match what we're trying to do. So the amount we asked for is $775,000, which is a lot of money, like on this table. If there was $1 million on this table right here, I would kill you.
What? No.
I would kill the audience. I would kill everyone at home.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money on the table to walk away with cash for a person, but for a team of people making a video game, like $800,000 does not go a long way. The budget's actually more than twice that, and we're funding the rest of that at Harmonix. No one else is funding the project, so we're just basically hoping that people can partner with us to help make this really, really cool game that we think is exciting and is a passion project for the studio.
Sure. So rewinding a bit.
Yeah, back up.
You don't own Amplitude, right?
No. Or Frequency. It's sort of, so Frequency came out before Amplitude. Amplitude was a sequel, and both of them were made by us for Sony. They actually published the games and paid for the games.
So they own the IP this whole
They
time.
own the name and some of the other elements of the game itself, and so we have their permission, and they've actually been, they've been great partners along the axis of saying, if you guys want to bring this back, I think, I don't want to speak for Sony, obviously they should speak for themselves, but I think they would have trouble making a business case that would be like a huge profit center for Sony and investing their money. But if they said, if you want to bring it back, you guys want to try to get the funding for it and put the game out, we would support you. We'd let you use the name and the likeness and the license, and we'd put it on our platforms and help you out in whatever way we can.
Right.
And so they're great. I mean, we love Sony. And we haven't actually made like a PlayStation exclusive game in 12 years or something like that. So
is that why you think they didn't try to help you at all?
Because we put them out in the cold, making all those Connect games,
God damn you
dancing for
Connect
cameras.
Thing, yeah.
No, I think that we've been looking to get back in Sony's court for a while and make some cool stuff. We all have PlayStations. I've been playing my PlayStation 4 a lot. Play a lot of Trials Fusion. Put Adam Boyes in the ground on the leaderboards on Trials Fusion.
Adam Boyes is the worst.
I mean, he's a terrible human being.
Yeah. Bad human being, bad gamer.
Garbage town.
Yeah.
Canadian.
Good dad, though. I think
He's a good dad.
He's a Canadian.
He's Canadian.
I didn't even know that part of it.
Secret Canadian.
Ugh.
He reps like he's from Chicago, but he's from Canada.
We're from Chicago, though, aren't we?
What up?
Yeah. How do you feel on the subject of Chicago, the whole Portillo's sale?
I'm psyched about it.
Yes.
So
the greatest hot dogs restaurant in the whole wide world.
It's our common bond beyond video games that we are both big fans of Portillo's, and I am lucky enough that outside of the Chicagoland area, I can get Portillo's in Buena Park, California.
Yep.
Where one of the games that I'm making a record run, we have a studio based down in Irvine, so I'm down there a fair amount. and so I'm soft selling a pivot for you in case you want
We're
it.
going to get there in a bit.
I'm not worried about it.
We're not done with the Kickstarter stuff.
We're not done with Portillo's yet.
No, we have so much. This is a layered interview.
Right, so they said that they're going to take that franchise and maybe open it up to be purchased by a larger company, and basically that they're going to kind of go public for a restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's great for me. It means that they may open them in LA and San Francisco and across the nation, so you can have fine Italian beef sandwiches and hot dogs with pickles on them and all that good stuff.
Yeah. It's a
I'm
great
psyched.
idea. I don't know. Now we should kickstart the Portillo's campaign to buy that.
I would buy, if you and I bought Portillo's, I think we could actually operate that as a solvent business, just based on our consumption of Portillo's.
I was going to say, we'd be eating us out of our
I
own
put
business.
Dick Portillo's kids through college. I'm pretty confident.
Hard to believe those kids don't want... We're getting off track here.
I know.
Coming back to everything that's happening on the Amplitude Kickstarter stuff. You announced it. Mitch told me about it. I immediately threw my money into it.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of people did too.
Right.
Then it's where are we? Where of course this goes live Monday. So
Sure.
where there's a gap here between.
You mean
time.
right now on Monday
right
when we're
now,
filming it? Yep.
Let's say theoretically, what were you doing last Wednesday? How was it going?
On last Wednesday, right in the middle of the campaign, we're talking about $235,000, $240,000 in the coffers, which is not bad. We're about a third of the way there. We're pushing strong. We have a lot of great concept art that's going up. We're announcing new things that are going in the game that people haven't seen yet, and we're just trying to keep people talking about it. It's that's a Kickstarter. I made the metaphor at the studio. It's a rowboat. You push off the dock and you get 20 feet away from the dock, and you can't look around and go like, oh, why did we stop moving? It's like, you got to row. You got to get out there and tell people about the game and get people to back, up their pledges and talk to their friends and stick around and give them content. So we're right there right now, but the last 4 or 5 days of a Kickstarter, and today being Monday, the ramp from Monday to our Friday at 5 p.m. closing, 5 p.m. Eastern, that's when a lot of people kind of say, okay, this is a viable thing, or it has gone, they've shown some more stuff, and then people see that remind me button and they show up and start backing. So we're hoping to march that $800,000 mark, and again, that's only a portion of the budget. I know it sounds like a ton of money, but without that much money, we can't actually justify the rest of the spend that we'll have to do out of pocket.
Were you surprised by the backlash in quotes of people who do tweet at you and yell at you and say, you guys made Rock Band Beatles, clearly you got money?
Yeah, I mean, right? I got that Beatles money. I just own the Beatles catalog.
Yeah.
The things I've been surprised about are how vitriolic some of those people have been. I actually think it's totally reasonable if you say, hey, I have an Xbox One, I didn't get a PS4, I don't want to back this game because I can't play it. It's like, that's totally fine. Or hey, I'm a PC gamer, I can't play this. Those things all make sense. But in general, I guess I'm surprised at how sort of hateful some people have been, that we're greedy and we're trying to rip people off and cash it on Kickstarter. And it's like, hey man, we're fronting well over $1 million out of our own pockets. We are not.
This isn't just their. You're not making the game just on their money.
We don't. If we back this at $800,000 or $1 million or $2 million, we haven't made a cent of profit off the game. Right, that covers our development costs, our publishing costs to put the game out.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we'll sell more units afterwards and make money. But even that is, we're just looking to get to a scenario where we can maybe break even and keep people employed at their desks with their lights on over them. But people comparing us to this is like Treyarch kickstarting Call of Duty, and you're like, it's not at all in any way like that, insofar as that's the biggest franchise in video games, and we are a developer who last put out Rock Band in 2010. But we did get a lot of where's that f*** you Rock Band money?
Yeah.
It's that existed, and Rock Band was a really big franchise. It sold a lot of units. It was really expensive to make, so the margin, which is what you make from the cost to the actual revenue that's brought in, that margin wasn't humongous, and it was shared by Electronic Arts, who distributed the game, and MTV Games, who owned our company, Viacom, who owned MTV Games, music labels, who had rights and that stuff. I was going to say,
the royalties, right, for all these songs.
Yeah, and Harmonix got a piece of that, and some of the investors of Harmonix got a piece of that, and it wasn't that the studio was poor. I mean, we're really happy to have made huge games like that, to be making Fantasia for Disney, or to be making Dance Central for Microsoft in the past. These are all games that we're really proud of, and we have certainly made some money in the past, but we also are operating a studio with hundreds of people. And when we haven't released a game in a while, you can probably guess that we've spent the money that we may have made on those games making other games that haven't come out yet. And so we're at the point now where looking at the dwindling coffers, what we have left, we have to be careful about what we invest in. So when you say this game is $2+ million, can we invest $2+ million in it? Well, can we make that money back? I don't know, maybe not. Well, then we can't make that game. But what if we added $800,000 of crowdfunding? Or what if we get a publisher to fund it? It's in those scenarios, we definitely make games like that. So now we look at a team that's coming off of another project and say, can we put them on Fantasia? Can we put them on these other games we're making? Or can we put them on Amplitude? Yeah. And if we can make a case we can put them on Amplitude, we'll do that. If we can't, we have to staff them on something else that's paid for. So that's where that crowdfunding comes in. We're just trying to kind of get over the break-even barrier. And I know people have a hard time believing it, but I can only tell you it's a sincere passion project. No one wants to be kind of with our hand out, asking the fans to kind of help us back this thing. But I'm putting my own money into the Kickstarter. A bunch of people at the studio are putting their own money into the Kickstarter. Like, we just want to see the game get made.
See, that's what I always like about Kickstarter. I like that it's kind of the put up or shut up mentality of it, right? Of like, not everybody loves this thing, but I love this thing, and I pay money for it.
Here's how much I love it, right? I buy all the DLC for Rock Band, and not everyone was that person. But I think that's important. I've backed 46 Kickstarters as an individual, and I'm hoping that people can sort of share the love. Like, making cool things is what this industry is kind of about, and being able to support each other and be able to make cool things that otherwise maybe wouldn't be able to get made is why Kickstarter exists. So if you think that a big company can't be on Kickstarter, which is a valid opinion to have, and maybe don't give them your money, but if you're out there yelling like, this company's too big, fuck this company for being on Kickstarter, it's like, well, Kickstarter's a platform, and hopefully like a big company being on Kickstarter and drawing attention makes little companies on Kickstarter get other people paying attention to them and starting some accounts, and we're just trying to sort of be in a part of that ecosystem and hopefully make this game we really want to make.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, John, I tweet people who are going to be on the show.
Yeah.
People tweet back at me questions.
I'm aware.
Oh, are you?
I got people replying to me on Twitter because of you.
Sorry about that.
That's
I didn't mean
fine.
to bring
No, it is what it is.
a spotlight to your cause. Scott tweets and says, if the Kickstarter campaign doesn't reach its goal, what happens to Amplitude?
We don't make it.
Okay.
Like that, or at least like to be very candid, like there's no scenario right now. There's no no one waiting in the wings with $1 million. There's no publisher who's going to say like, we just were gauging interest and now we're definitely going to make this game. Like, as far as I can tell you right now, like as from Harmonix self-funding and making that game, my understanding is looking at the budget and looking at the P&L, the profits and losses. Like, if we don't get this funding, we can't make this game, and that team goes away and goes to work on other things or does something else with their lives.
Okay. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Kickstarter is linked in the description. That's the easiest way to get to it.
Yeah.
Before you go, something else happened last week. Hypothetically, if like a week ago on Wednesday.
Yeah.
What about this no Kinect in the Xbox One anymore?
Yeah, that story just broke a week ago.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, you make Kinect games.
Yeah,
you're working on this Fantasia one.
I would argue we are the leading third-party developer of Kinect games.
Right now, Tim Schafer is wigging out and getting ready to go.
Come at me, bro. Like, whatever. No, I mean, I think that Double Fine is the next in line of like people who understand Kinect and make cool, crazy things with it. But I think with Dance Central and now Fantasia Music Evolved, we are like the big, crazy games that need a motion controller company. So I think that's what we do.
So what did you
What's your question?
The question is, like, what was your reaction when you find out that this is happening?
I mean, on some level, from like a Harmonix perspective, it's obviously great for us if everyone has this camera in their house, right? There's more people who might consider a motion game. That's obviously like good for our bottom line business.
Yeah.
But as people in the games industry and as people who partner with Microsoft, having more people buying Xbox Ones and getting excited about next-gen gaming and playing new games is just as valuable, right? So people buying a $400 box that can compete on price, who don't know if they want a motion game or not, and then can evaluate down the line. I do want to pick up a Kinect because actually commanding this interface with my voice and like playing Dance Central from Xbox 360 on Kinect for that console when that was an optional purchase, or Fantasia Music Evolved on Xbox One, for example. Being able to play those kinds of games is really fun. I want to try that. And our job as a developer is to make the best games we possibly can and convince you it's worth this additional peripheral, it's worth this thing in your house that is staring at your face and knows your emotions. So it's always better for the consumer to have more choice. And I think that we support Microsoft in saying we are offering some awesome new choices to people and buying a different configuration of the Xbox One.
Okay, great.
Good for them.
Final point for the interview.
Yeah, man.
You mentioned this record game you have.
Yeah, yes, the record game.
The record game.
Yes.
Tell me, what's this one?
It is a game called Record Run. It is a mobile game for iOS and Android, and it is a 2-lane runner where it's set to your own music. So you import your music library into the game, and you can run to levels that are based off songs you import. So you can run to Brian Altano's record, or my band's record, or Lady Gaga's songs, and you can dodge back and forth, jump, duck, roll, all that good stuff.
It's funny you bring up Brian Altano.
Yeah.
Can we please show the screenshot? Well, you have clearly stolen Brian's likeness and put him in this game. And we're not a litigious crew here.
Yeah.
But that is offensive.
Well, I mean, I think he looks better in the game.
Well, sure.
And look, as someone who had a mobile app made off of his likeness without permission, I figure that's just what we do now.
That's your own fault for hanging out with Gersman.
I mean, right. The John Drake, Super Drake tracker. But he's a big inspiration on every axis of my life, and I just want to make sure he got a small cameo call out. And like he got paid. He got his. For every dollar it costs you to install that game, we give half of that to Brian. And since the game is free to play, he gets half of zero.
Oh, okay.
He got his royalty. It's great.
All right. Well, John, thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Everybody,
me.
go back that game. I want it really bad. I like Amplitude a lot.
I hope we get funded and we get to make a cool game, man.
All right, cool. Give me a handshake.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming out. Man, the prospect of there not being an Amplitude sure is scary. Speaking of scary, Greg Way, ghosts are scary. Here to tell me all about Murdered Souls. It's got a ghost in it.
No, I know. It's because you play. Yeah, it's a ghost. The whole ghost
Murdered
thing.
Soul Suspect is going to be on the show next. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Matt Brunner.
Yeah.
As I live and breathe again, Matt Brunner.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
You're here to talk about Murdered Soul Suspect. In a nutshell,
That's
what
we
is
need
it?
to. Without even mentioning Ghost Dad.
It's Ghost Dad! It's stealing Ghost Dad! He walks up on his body, he's like, oh, I'm Ghost Dad!
My dad is a ghost. Come on. It's a.
What? Wait, what? What?
You'll find out. It's a supernatural thriller where you are a detective who's suddenly found himself in the afterlife and kind of has to figure out what the hell happened to him, and he digs deep into this world that's in between, what you can pass on into later on and the living life, and he's got to figure out what the heck is his tool set and how he can dig into why he's there. Okay. So he's figuring out why he's there, and he's also figuring out who put him there and why.
So when you're describing to somebody, it's third person, you're walking around investigating your own death, but is it adventure like something you'd imagine out of like the Walking Dead stuff, or is it action, or is it somewhere in between?
It is definitely a munge together of action, adventure, a little bit of adventure game, a little bit of an exploration game. It's in many ways, this is kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
And I've noticed a lot of people start wrestling with it, like, oh my God, what the hell? How does this work?
Yeah.
What am I buying here? And it fits pretty solidly in the action genre, but there's a lot of figuring things out. We call it an investigation game.
Thinking
but really
in my video games.
But really what you're doing is moving through the world, figuring out what clues are, sort of seeing it in this supernatural context, and then as you figure it out, the story begins to unfold around you.
Gotcha. And so this isn't at all related to Call of Duty Ghosts.
No.
Has anyone... I thought new IPs were dead. It's all got to be sequels. Like, were you...
I thought they were too.
Was it a hard sell to get this game going and get it off the ground?
We're in a really unusual situation with this. Yes, new IPs are a bitch to sell these days.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but it is the truth that you walk in with a new IP to a publisher and they look at you like, no. Go somewhere else. So,
well, we like the mechanics of this, but can we apply one of our licenses to it? Can we just do that? No.
But could we make it a Ghost Dad game? So what we really did on this project was collaborated with Square from day one. They came to us and said, "We've got some ideas for some games. We want to hear what you guys' ideas are, and let's talk." So we sat down and we talked about it. And Yosuke, the creative director from Square, had been watching, coincidentally, the movie Ghost. And
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You
said that with a judgment. It's a dynamite film, sir.
I love Patrick Swayze.
Nailed it. Roadhouse.
Or Grindhouse. And then we sat down and said, well, okay, Patrick Swayze is not really what we're thinking about right now, but there is something interesting here. And so we started talking about what would it be, what would it really be in a third-person action game if you were a ghost? What are the implications of that? And the further we got into it, and the more we realized that almost everyone at the table lit up with this enthusiasm because everybody has a ghost story. everybody has some connection to the ghost genre in a way.
Right.
And then we also realized that, holy crap, there really isn't much in this space, you know?
Right.
We're not making another third-person shooter game with aliens.
Yeah.
And so we decided to pursue it. We decided collectively to pursue it. And then we started going, so what are we making? And we spent like 6 to 8 months literally sitting at a table with each other. I mean, we had translators. It was a big process, and kind of figured out what would it mean to be a ghost as a player, and then who would this character be, and why would you want to be that character? So it took a lot of development to get there.
Okay, so then we know that you're a cop investigating your own murder from beyond the grave.
Yeah.
Is it strictly walking around and picking up clues and looking for this and chasing someone who's alive, or is there...
Yeah, no, not at all, actually. So there is a lot to do in the game, and yes, you do move through the environment, find clues, and usually we keep the investigations to very specific areas, so you're not just wandering around going, is there a clue in this corner? Is there a clue in that? You know?
Yeah.
It's more like, okay, I kind of know that in this area something happened. My body's laying there.
There's an
obvious clue there, and then you scour that area, find what you can, kind of figure it out as you're going. There are mechanics for figuring it out, and then as you pretty much know when you've come to a conclusion correctly.
Okay.
We help you with that. And then you move on. And when you're moving on in the world, you can explore freely. You can do certain side quests. There are other ghosts that you encounter. They have their own issues. You can help them resolve their own issues if you want to, or you can just let them deal with them on their own. You can kind of eavesdrop, interact with human beings that are out there in the world too, that don't know you exist.
One word with a question mark at the end of it. Shower?
No shower scene. It's been done. So we left it. Yeah, it's not a voyeuristic game. Even though when we were talking about what is it to be a ghost, almost everybody came up with the voyeur as one of the primary things, but we were like, yeah, it doesn't really fit the supernatural vibe that we're after.
Okay.
It fits the perv vibe.
Right. Just take this engine and apply it to your Hollow Man game and you're all set. Not enough Hollow Man fans in the audience. Kevin Bacon's finest work.
Yeah. It is.
What's your ghost story? You said everybody has a ghost story.
Everybody does
What's
have
yours?
a ghost
When you
story.
went around the table, what was yours?
Living in Austin, Texas. I used to live in a shotgun house, which, if you don't know what that is like one of those houses where all the rooms are in a row. So you have to walk through the living room, to walk through the bedroom, to walk to the kitchen. One night I woke up and looked down into the living room, and there was a guy standing in the doorway of my bedroom, leading into the living room. I wasn't scared. It didn't really freak me out, but I was like, there's a guy standing in my doorway. What's going on? And the guy started walking towards me, and I remember laying in bed, and he walked up next to me, and I watched him like this. And I watched them go by, and then I kind of woke up a little bit more, and I was like, what the f***? There's a guy in my kitchen, and I got up and looked, and he was gone. So I was nailed. That
was a good
convinced
one.
me.
That's a good one. That's really
He's
good.
real.
Now, is that scene now in your game?
No.
No. Okay.
We do have lots of ghost stories in the game, though.
That's one of the things I like the most about it. I like, you came in and let us play some of it.
Yeah.
And you had it where...
Did you really find one?
Not me.
No, you couldn't have.
No, you were guiding us.
Yeah.
You guys were guiding us, and we went into like a tomb where there was a ghost sitting there on the tomb, like, and talking to you and like giving you that little thing of like, this is what I need, and how can we help this do? I like that side questy part of it.
There are also we hired an amazing writer from LA to do our ghost stories for us, and he wrote I think 8 or 9 of them. And the ghost stories are written for each particular area specifically. So after you've kind of picked up all of one particular kind of collectible that relates to this ghost story, you get it. It's read to you. It's there's some graphics that are involved with it, and they're amazing. They're really cool. So it's not just I got 10 of one item, cool. You get this ghost story that really pulls together the whole area. It's neat.
All right. now we're going to get heady for a second about the video game industry
okay.
in general, right? You're doing something a lot of people don't get the chance to do. You're making a new IP on a grand scale, right? Is that a problem that's rare? You know, we talk about a lot at IGN, this spectrum, where there's the AAA game and then there's the indie game, and that middle tier has kind of fallen away with like THQ going away. You don't see in companies like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now you have it where it's like everything's got a sequel on it or everything's independent.
Unfortunately, the middle tier is a brutal space to be in right now. And, I mean, the whole industry is changing. Until people literally dive in and start buying those games, like they're doing with some of the mobile games and pumping the free-to-play money in, hand over fist, it's a hard sell. I mean, when you can produce a game on a mobile platform for $300,000 and it takes $20 million to produce a game like ours, you're sort of stuck. So yeah, they are disappearing, and it spooks us severely in terms of being a studio that loves making those kind of games. And we're sort of known for developing IP from scratch. Anyway, we've never done differently. We've always developed a game from IP from scratch. So right now we're sort of in that position, like, what's happening to the world? What's happening to us right now? and trying to be scrappy about it.
Right. Okay. Are you scared, like, going forward? I mean,
yeah, I'm totally scared.
Yeah.
We've got such an amazing, dedicated team of incredibly talented people. They all love what they're doing, and we want to keep them doing what they do best. Narrative is important to us. Games that engage you on an empathetic, emotional level are super important to us. We really love that third-person kind of mentality of engaging a full world that you've developed around them. All of those things are really important to us. We'll see how long we can keep going with it. We love it.
Good. Well, Murder Soul Suspects out beginning of June 3rd in the States.
June 3rd, yeah.
Somewhere else in the rest of the country, but they're not watching us. They're all asleep because time differences.
But they will watch you.
They will one day, and you should all watch Ghost Dad. Matt, thank you so much for coming
back.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you to Matt Brunner, John Drake, and you, my audience. If you want to be in that audience, go.ign.com/up-at-noon for details. As always, Brian and I will be responding to comments the first hour this video is live, so come tell us your favorite Ghost Dad moment. Mine is when, I don't even know what happened in Ghost Dad. It's been a long time since. We'll be back next Monday at noon, but until then, I'm going back to bed.